We live in a world where more people than ever are on SSRIs, yet the mental health issues don't seem to be getting better. In fact, they seem to be getting worse. It's become very clear to me that we don't have as much of a mental health issue, but a pharmaceutical one. So welcome back to the channel today, everyone. So recently we had a string of high-profile mass shootings, and the same old gun problem versus mental health problem has raged on because of it. But after some research, I found out it's neither. But before I get into that, our sponsor today is Blenders Eyewear. With summer right around the corner, check out these stylish sun and blue light glasses. They have polarized lenses for great price, link in the description. Also, recently I started a Substack, and my first article I wrote in conjunction with this video is live now. So I started looking into this issue because it seems with the help of government, Big Pharma has changed their reputation. Where activists used to call them evil, greed-ridden corporations that make billions on the backs of sick people, now those same activists are carrying the water for them. Their CEOs are seen as credible advisors on COVID. More people than ever are on SSRIs, and at an alarming rate, kids are being placed on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, which I will talk about the trans aspect of this in part 2 of this series. And now see, all of this is done with politicians creating policy and helping push the narratives. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the government peddled fear and locked people down. The number of people on SSRIs rose 7% from the start of the pandemic, bringing the total to 16.5% of the US population that are on mental health medications. So not only did Big Pharma make money off the vaccines, they also boosted their clientele of mental health medications. But really, that's all I can go into about COVID vaccines before this video gets banned. But now I want to move on to the effects of these drugs. I want to make clear that for some people, SSRIs work. But even with the increased usage, we don't see any meaningful changes in the data. A new study has come out that says while SSRIs can help patients in the short term, there is no significant improvement into their overall well-being in the long term. Now, my friend Ariel has discussed her use of SSRIs on her channel, and here are her thoughts.
Some personal experience for you. You guys know, people that know who I am, I've talked about it on my channel. I have a very interesting experience with SSRI medications in the sense that I've had ones that did not work for me and made me feel 100 times worse, made me feel suicidal, and then I found one that did work for me and changed my life, and I was able to literally travel the world alone and be fine, where before I couldn't even leave my house. So, and different medications work for different types of people. Different medications work for different types of brains, different chemistries, different hormone levels. All of these things come into effect when you are working with healing someone, their body, their brain. For me, the only really negative side effect of SSRIs is sexual dysfunction and, I would say a little bit of emotional numbness. Before, I was able to cry just from watching like a Hallmark movie, and now I have to basically get dumped or have a really traumatic experience to be able to have that same emotional intensity. I've seen tons of LGBT people go on medications, go on SSRIs, antidepressants, all these types of things more than ever before in the past 5 years. And again, for some people it helps, for some people it doesn't, and there should be other options.
And Ariel isn't alone. 46% of the people that take SSRIs report feeling emotional numbness, to which might be why we're starting to see society deteriorate. In 2020, the violent crime rate was up, as well as the murder rate was up 30%, despite being at an all-time low in 2014. It seems that numbing one's emotions also means numbing their conscience. It makes sense. And yet, while we see these mental health issues getting worse and not better, the government makes natural drugs illegal. Cannabis is a prime example of a natural drug that is shown to boost the 2-AG molecule in the brain, which controls serotonin levels. And if you don't know, serotonin levels are the main driver of anxiety and depression issues. My friend Aviva Vivazela is a cannabis activist here in Georgia and my general go-to expert on the topic. Here's what she had to say.
There are many health benefits to cannabis being suppressed or neglected by corporate greed, research has been limited due to the federal listing of cannabis in the DEA drug scheduling as a Schedule 1, which is a listing of drugs, substances, or chemicals that are defined as drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, which includes the native medicines of cannabis and peyote. So the medical community generally, unfortunately, keeps their hands off these plants that have natural vibrations that deeply affect our mind power in a healthy and I would say spiritual way to move our emotions into a more flowing, transcended, sacred space, as opposed to perhaps simply numbing the emotions to cope with life, not exactly process them, which creates dependency. That said, Big Pharma has not done a lot of research on cannabis medicine, but we have experiential research, right? Testimonials. And with that, for many years, we have people sharing how they have used cannabis to treat cancers, AIDS, neuropathy, MS, epilepsy, anxiety, Alzheimer's, depression, eating disorders, extreme pain, ADHD. She improves metabolism. She decreases blood glucose levels, which is great for diabetes, as long as you munch on salad instead of sweets when you get those munchies. I mean, you can look at any medical cannabis law and see a list of conditions that cannabis can be prescribed for. And the part of the plant that is used is another option. Historically, it's the root that gets turned into a pain-relieving salve. Some juice the whole entire plant, leaves and all. Some just use the flower to make tea, tinctures, or to smoke. Everyone has their own unique endocannabinoid system that's affected by different parts of the plant terpenes and different levels of the THC, CBD, and everything in between. Hepatotoxicity, which is extreme liver toxicity, has been documented as even coming from some big pharma psychiatric drugs. And even antibiotics are processed through the liver, which can clog it up with toxins. So, when you add up the environmental toxins that are also irritating our livers, it's not surprising for us to then see more bouts of rage from our fellow humans, because toxic liver leads to bouts of rage and anger issues, and we see this with alcoholics. Finally, the most telling evidence that cannabis is being knowingly ignored for its health benefits is that there is a U.S. government patent filed originally in 1998, U.S. 6630507B1, claiming parts of cannabis as a super antioxidant and neuroprotectant. Similar to other adaptogens like bacopa, ashwagandha, and lion's mane mushrooms, and in addition to the omegas found in hemp seeds, cannabis can help us all think with more clarity. But why would a greedy corporation that wants you to be dependent on their products want you to think clearly? Right?
And I also want to point out that psychedelics are another natural drug that are illegal, but have shown to be effective in treating mental health issues.
I would still love to do something, quote, more natural, like psychedelics. But personally, I would only feel comfortable doing it under the guidance of a physician, of someone that knew that medication so well, shrooms, whatever it was, that I knew I would be in safe hands.
A new study by the Harris poll found that 65% of Americans with mental health issues would try psychedelics under the care of a therapist. And they should be allowed to. Everyone should have the right to try and experiment treatment, especially when early studies are reporting sustained improvement for up to 12 months after only 2 LSD psychotherapy sessions. In reality, what do you lose? Well, okay, big pharma and politicians that invest in them would lose out on all that money, but to wrap this up, I want to note that I was on Lexapro for about a year. I didn't notice too many changes. I didn't notice a lot of the emotional numbness, but I took myself off of it in exchange for a gym membership, and I also used Delta 8 for situational relief. See, exercise is a great natural serotonin booster, so who really is behind this body positivity movement? But with that, I want to say a huge thank you to my guest. Go subscribe to their channels. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Click that like and subscribe button. Go support our sponsors and follow me across all social media platforms, and I will see you next time.